Hi, this is LeJune with LeJune Singleton LLC, Fitness, Health, Nutrition, and Wellness Podcast, Season 4. Today, I would like to welcome my mentor, my sister, bonus sister. She is a motivational speaker, a podcaster, diabetes integrative nutritional coach, a mindset transitional coach, influencer, relationship coach, and again, a mentor. Tamica Lloyd. Thank you for joining me, Tamica.
Hey, June. I'm so happy to be here with my sister from another mister.
And Mrs. Because I want to be like, I thought she just had one sister.
My sister. That's my sister in Christ, y'all. It's my sister in Christ.
Yes. We're bonus sisters. Yes.
Right. The sisters we could pick. Oh, I love my sisters though. I don't want to get no, calls.
Let's not start no issues, okay? We had Tamica on twice. Once she was on last year talking about her experience overcoming diabetes, which was reversed for her. Now she's a diabetes coach. She was on my Juneteenth special. Talking about diabetes. Now she's on talking about relationships. Tamica has been married. She knew what she wanted. I think she was the Sierra before Sierra, writing what she wanted from God. So definitely want to have her on because we all know around this time it's called cuffing season. And people become really, really, really in that mode of they want to be in a relationship. But the question is, are you really ready for a relationship? Or is it because it's that time of the year that you feel like I need to be with someone? So, Tamica, can you give a background on yourself? How long you been married?
Oh, let's see. Well, before this husband, I had an ex-husband. So once you go through the process of being married once, seeing everything that went wrong and getting divorced, and then you're like, well, that didn't work out, right? So, what happened? What happened was I picked somebody that I thought I wanted for the wrong reasons. He looked good. He had a nice job, but it just didn't work out. So the next go around with my husband now, who I don't know how I even got this man. God must have been like, look, I'm going to reward you. I don't know why, because Lord knows my past, nobody want to reward me for nothing. But I don't know how I got him. And I always, say, sometimes it's too good to be true, even though we've been together. Well, we've been married for, like 16 years. I still say it's too good to be true. But I know now why it seems like that. And that's because I didn't settle. I told him what I wanted up front. And luckily for me, that's what he wanted also. And I think part of the problem with relationships, period, is women talk a lot. And if you got a type of guy that's a manipulator, they're going to listen and then they're going to turn that against you. So sometimes as women, we need to stop talking. We need to ask questions. We need to be friends with these men so that we know where their head is. And that's what I did. I knew my husband before I married him. I knew him, oh my goodness, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, ahead of time. And we were friends. And that's what made our relationship, our marriage so good. A marriage where there's never any arguments. I don't like to argue. I'm violent by nature. I don't need to be arguing. And, and I'm aggressive. I'm type A. He's not. He's passive aggressive. Don't get me wrong. He'll just give me a look and I'll be like, okay, I got it. I stepped over that boundary. But it works. And we don't do that a lot as women. We don't create or demand what we want, especially as we get older. We figure, oh I'm 40, maybe, the ones who want kids but don't have them are like, my clock is ticking. I really want kids. I'm just going to settle for this dude. And once you do that, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. You're setting it up for a disaster. So we have to start demanding what we want in a relationship. And that can look different to everybody. People, my type of relationship may not be your type of relationship, but you have to know what type of relationship you want. If you know that you want somebody up under you 24/7 and you got a guy who like to, party, that's not going to work. Or if you're a person who know you don't want nobody up on you 24/7, then you can't get that type of guy because you're going to create the friction. Know what you want and know what they're looking for to see if it's a match. And if it's not a match, move on. The sooner you move on, the better. So that's where we go wrong with you.
So why do you think that men and women are hesitant with moving on? Because it's that thing of most men, when they get in their 30s and 40s, they're ready to get married, but they're like, oh, I got to get married now. But is it, and I've had male friends that have said, okay, well, I'm in my 30s. I'm not in love with my wife. We got kids together. So I might as well, be with her. So why do you think that's typically the case for men and women? Women, like you said, we get in our 30s and 40s. We've never been married. We don't have kids. It's that fear of, I don't want to be alone. Why is this such a issue where we're settling in situations that it's not healthy, it's toxic?
Well, I think one of the reasons why we settle is because we think we got what we deserve. Rather, if it's a man or a woman, if you're in a situation and it's not working and you don't want to leave, you can use the kids as an excuse or the finances as an excuse. But at the end of the day, your core reasoning is because that's what you think you deserve, or you think you can't find anything better. You're like, oh, well, this is it. This is it. I'm in my 40s. This is it. Or like you said, with the men, a lot of them are, it's cheaper to keep her, man. It's cheaper to keep her. I got these kids, if we get divorced, then I got to give her half, I got to give her alimony or child support. Man, it's cheaper to keep her. And so then they stay stuck. And some people can stay stuck and, it's not detrimental to the kids. But a lot of times people stay stuck and then they argue. They don't get along. The kids see that. And it does become detrimental to the kids. The kids would rather have two parents that love them, that aren't arguing with each other, living in separate places, than to be in a war zone of arguments every day or even once a week. That does something to your kids. And then we also have to ask ourselves, what are we showing our kids? We're showing them that it's okay to settle. If you have a little girl, you're showing them it's okay if daddy treats mommy like that. So when they get older and replicate that man, it's because we told them, we showed them it was okay. So until we kind of up our self-esteem, up our self-love, don't be worried about the finances. Yeah, it may be cheaper to keep her, but at what cost? What cost is it doing to you physically, mentally, emotionally? I mean, I love money just like everybody else, but I'm telling you, with my ex-husband, I was like, look, I if I stay, I'm going to become a shell of myself. And he can't get that. Can't nobody get that. And it was hard. And then you have to rebuild. And that's hard. But once you do it, it's like, oh, for me, it was like, boy, I should have left this ass a long time ago. After you go through the storm. So that's why we stay. That's why we say so many of us don't know our power or think, yeah, it's what we deserve. Or I like this one because I hear this one a lot. I never was raised with my parents in the same household. So therefore, I want to give my kids that experience of being, of having that nuclear type of family, which is all well and good unless your relationship is toxic. If your relationship is toxic, again, that's not good for the kids.
Right.
So,
I definitely hear, a lot of women say, well, I'll just get a divorce after the kids graduate high school and go to college. And the thing of it is, your kids already see, sense, and know that you guys are not getting along. Just because you may not always argue in front of them, they are aware that they can feel the energy. Energy speaks so much. And they see, okay, dad really don't like mom and mom really don't like dad. So you're teaching them it's okay to be in a toxic relationship and to settle when you can just divorce. And as you said, live in two separate households, be with the person that you want to be with, that makes you happy, or they're happy with whomever and in love with whomever, and your kids see that, okay, I'd rather see my parents in healthy relationships than this toxic situation.
Exactly. It affects the kids whether we know it or not. Some people seem to think that just because the relationship isn't abusive physically, that it won't affect the kids. Like, all right, yeah, everybody argue, the kids will be all right. You just don't realize that, especially when they're younger, it's like you're creating all of this negativity into their little brains. And it doesn't matter if you have a little boy or if you have a little girl. If you have a little girl and you as a woman have the wrong father or father figure, because sometimes it's not the biological, it's just maybe a stepfather, and they see how he treats their mom, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the same type of guy because that's what they saw. And if you have a little boy and the little boy sees how this male figure treats his mom, that's how they're going to treat a woman because that's what they've seen. To them, it becomes normal. And that's the part that's sad for me, is that the longer we stay in these toxic relationships, when we have children, the more it normalizes that toxic behavior for them. And they think that, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. Oh, I'm supposed to yell at my girl when she don't do what I want her to do, or I'm supposed to stay what I call stuck on stupid when it's not working. That's stuck on stupid. Don't be stuck on stupid. Let them go. Let them go. Trust me, you will survive and thrive without them. But they get so, possessive. It's like, no, I can't. But why can't you? He done tore you down so much that you don't think you can even survive. Not realizing that once you let that go, good things, prosperity will start to come to you, because you don't have that negativity around you.
That is so true. And, as you spoke about, if the relationship isn't physical, the worst thing is the emotional and the verbal abuse, because the bruises heal when somebody hits you. But when someone speaks words to you and break you down emotionally and verbally, that is so hard to come back from. It even stems back from what your parents say to you. And we can repeat it like a record. Well, my mom or my dad said X, Y, and Z to me. And just imagine that being said to you as being someone's partner or spouse, or situationship, that they're saying negative things to you. And now you're trying to go into another relationship, another situationship, and that's playing in your head every time this person does something that triggers you. It brings you back to the previous person, but this person hasn't done anything to you, but it's that trigger of, oh, well, you're going to say or you're going to do.
Yeah, they're looking for it because they haven't healed. You know, a lot of times we jump from one to the next, or we think we're healed when we really aren't. And that's the first sign to know if you are healed. If this person is doing something that's triggering you, and I mean, if they're yelling at you, then you already know they're not for you. Right. But little things, you know, he may be, I don't know, checking his phone, and you're like, I know he's texting that girl. And, you know, like the freaking voices in your head start. Or he's like, you know, you're out to dinner. He's like, oh, I gotta, you know, I'm gonna go use the restroom. I know he's gonna call somebody. Like it's just crazy what, you know, some of my clients will tell me. And I'm like, how you get from that? The man just had to pee. Like, how you go from here to go? Because I know it, because I'm telling you, such and such did that to me. And that's what he used to do. Then you aren't ready for a relationship. You know, you have to heal that mess. You have to be stronger and be more whole when you go into your next relationship. And sometimes we just jump. Or it could be years, but we still didn't deal with the issues. You know, we kept busy, we were working, we didn't deal with that trauma. We didn't grieve that relationship. When you leave, you got to grieve that relationship. You got to ask yourself some questions. You got to see how you contributed to it. Because sometimes we do. Even if that contribution was we stayed longer than we should have, we have to ask ourselves why. Why? Most of us like to fix things. Why? You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. So until you deal with yourself, your issues, and those traumas that probably were there since you were growing up, you're never going to be in the right position to make any types of decision as far as a relationship, because you're looking at people through hurt lenses and not through healed lenses. So, and it's really sad though sometimes, because people think they have to. Like, I don't know who was going around telling people that you have to be in a relationship if you don't want one. Not everybody want to be in a relationship. I don't know who was going around telling women or telling men, it's time for you to have kids when you don't want kids. If you know that's not what you want, and then you're like, oh, well, I better go with this one because, you know, my mama, my daddy, whoever said it's time they want to be grandparents. I better go and do it. No, and daggone well, you don't even like kids. Don't. You know, we spend so much of our time making other people happy at our expense. And you can't take kids back. Trust me, you can't.
No, you can't do return to sender.
You can't. They can't.
Because you are. But you know what you spoke on was me, because I was the fixer. I would get into relationships, get out relationships, get in relationships, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make them happy, and I'm so focused on making them happy. I'm not happy myself because I'm still dealing with my traumas, but I'm trying to fix them because they're hurt. So it's two hurt people together. And I was just like, you know, I definitely learned a lot from my last relationship because I never lived with anyone before. So never knew finances was a big issue. Because I lived by myself before, so I paid my own stuff. Of course, sex is a big thing. Communication, listening, vulnerability, being open, those things. And it was like, what? I gotta do all of this?
She's like, I ain't signed up for this.
But I wasn't in a good financial place. So it was, you know, I had moments where I was suicidal and I lost myself the last 2.5 years of the relationship. And if it wasn't for my ex ending it, I would probably still, be there and like, okay, we can make it work. We can make it work. Because it was that thing of the longest relationship I've been in. Truly loved the person, was my third love, but it was a lot of things that I didn't like. At times that I wasn't being heard, and I felt that trigger of when my mom didn't hear me. So things started coming up, but I was just like, I learned a lot because I was like, oh, so this is preparing me for my next relationship or my next, person that may be long-term or whatever, what to look for. But it also taught me you need to heal. You need to have that time for you, to understand you and to love you and find happiness with you, because we get so focused on, I got to find somebody to make me happy. The biggest thing that I hear, and I've had guys send me message on Instagram like, oh, I want to make you happy. You can't make me happy. Only I can make me happy. And we come in together with our happiness and have a successful relationship. But definitely those things matter. And I had no clue because I never experienced it before. So growing up, my dad was the breadwinner. My mom was the stay-at-home mom. So he died when I was 6. So I didn't really, get to experience the full dynamics of what relationships look like.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with most people when they look at their parents, and you see a lot of people infidelity in relationships because that's what someone in one of their parents did.
Yeah.
The lack of communication. Parents didn't talk. And you see this a lot, because that's one thing I said I never wanted was we're watching TV and we're eating dinner, but we're never talking to each other.
Yeah. You see how we were raised and what we saw growing up as far as people in relationships, whether we know it or not, it has a lot to do with the type of relationships that we get into. I think about both of my parents. My parents, when both my parents died, I was 14. My father was a rolling stone. I mean, he just treated my mother any old kind of way. But my mother always took him back. And me seeing that growing up, I mean, then he even had a whole wife, I love you, stepmom, had a little brother. I mean, I love my stepmother. And my mother was right there. And I remember thinking growing up, I don't want to be that woman. Like, I don't want to be that woman that loves a man so much that he can cheat. And then I'm like, okay, I forgive you. I mean, people do it. If that's what you do, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying for me, I didn't want to be that woman. So when my ex-husband cheated, it's a wrap. There is no talking about it. There is no, I can forgive you, but there's no more relationship because now I don't trust you. And if I don't trust you, it's done. Because if I don't trust you, I know I'm a crazy type chick. So then I'll be the one, what's this mofo doing? We wasn't using them phones back then the way we're using now, but hey, I'd be the one that be following you and just acting real stupid and crazy. And so I'm like, no, we got to end this. But that's because I saw my mother and I saw the sadness and I saw how, he would promise things and never do it. And it was just like, I remember looking at my mother once and being like, just let it go. And then she had another man that was just perfect. Like, he was so nice, so sweet. And she let him go because my father wanted to come back. And I think he was probably back maybe a week, and then he was off to the next. And I was like, nah, I was like, I can't. And so when I started having relationships with men, those are the type of antennas that I had up. You know, okay, what is he doing? Who's going on? What's going on? And then I had to slow it down. I'm like, look, everybody not your father. Got to take it as they come until they prove you otherwise. So I laugh with my husband because when we first started to, be in a relationship, and I told him everything I wanted, he told me everything he wanted. And I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a chance. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop because you're too damn perfect. I'm waiting. And then we did things fast. Like from the time we, went out officially to the time we got married. I mean, we literally was official like a January 31st. And then that same year in August, we were engaged. And in the following April, we were married. Like it was that fast. And people were like, what the hell? First of all, for me, it was like, he's too old. It's a 12-year difference. For him, it's like, she too young. She a gold digger. She wants your money. And I'm like, and it was to the point where we just went to Jamaica. It was like, we're going to get married. And so now we joke, or at least I joke, and I just look at him. I'm still waiting. I know it's going to drop. And he just looks at me and he's just like, you just something wrong with your legacy. And I'm telling you, I'm not an easy person to deal with. So for him, I'm always like, God bless my husband. Because he tell people, he's like, who taking care of her? That's a full-time job, right? And I'm like, yep, how you get me is how you keep me. Don't be trying that. You know how people got their representatives with June and want to be like, oh yeah, I do this, I cook, I do this. And then you get, and the guy's like, I thought you said you like to cook and clean. I ain't say every day.
You should have asked specific questions about that.
Exactly. Be specific with your questions, people.
Definitely. So you said something that I've heard so many times from women, where it comes to a guy and they're like, they're too nice.
Mm-hmm.
They're too nice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, especially experiencing that, seeing that from your mom, what do you think it is that pushes, just not men, also just not women, also men, that pushes individuals away from someone who treats them really well? And we know the past, they've been in relationships where they were treated awfully.
Well, could be a few things. Number one, sometimes people think that if a person is too nice, they're hiding something. Number two, again, they think that that's not what they deserve. If you're used to being in an abusive relationship, or you used to somebody being real slick with their mouth with you, and then you have this person that's treating you like a queen or treating you like a king, you're not used to it, so you don't like it. But I think the number one reason that I've heard from my clients on why they don't go with the nice guy is because for whatever reason, they equate nice with boring. How do we equate nice with boring? So you want somebody that they like, no, I need like a roughneck type of person. But why? Because that's exciting. What's exciting about somebody calling you a fucking bitch and smacking you? I don't know exciting at all. That's not, you calling me outside my name. Ain't nothing exciting about that. Not for me. You know what? Not the hitting part, but they out there, they thugs. They, I don't want to deal with nobody who might go to prison. Like, how is that? They think that nice guys, they think that it's boring. They're not used to it. They don't like it. They don't see themselves as being a queen in that manner. And so they will stay away from them. And I don't understand that. Well, I do understand the logic, but I feel bad for nice people sometimes. And my husband is a nice guy. Like, he is nice as fuck. Like, nice until you like do something to, like, he's calm, cool, collective. If you twist that, but if he mad or if he don't like you, I know something wrong with you, because he like everybody. He's the social one. I've been looking at people sideways, and even when we go out, I'll be looking at people sideways. He's like, "Hello, how you doing? What's going on?" Opening doors. I was like, so, ladies and gentlemen, nice does not equal boring. You can be in a relationship with a nice person, a person that will not take care of you in a, financial aspect, but take care of your mind, body, and spirit. They're out there. It's okay. Give them a chance. But some of y'all, if y'all know that y'all nasty, leave the nice people alone. Because you ever see that? You see a real nice guy, and they women are bitches, and you be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, how you treating him like that? Or vice versa. Leave him alone. If you know you rough, just leave him alone. Don't do that. Don't do that. And it's a shame, because there's a lot of nice people that are out there. And then they think they got to change, because they're saying, well, I've always been nice, then I'm always getting cheated on. I'm always getting this. So then they think something is wrong within themselves. Like, my husband was one of them. He's like, these women were telling me, yeah, I'm going to go out with, my male friends, that's what I do. That's what we supposed to do. And he's like, oh, I don't want to be going out with no female. Oh, is that what? Oh, okay. So then you change your morals, or, your list, because you think something wrong with you, because you think a certain way. So, and there's nothing wrong with you. If somebody tell you that, that's not the one for you. It's just that simple. That's not the one for you. Move on. God teaches us. I always say that God shows us a person. It's up to us to accept it. God will show you how a person is, but sometimes we ignore it, and then we still asking God, give me a sign. God showed you a sign when he cheated on you. What? No, God, give me a sign.
I gave you 10 when he called you out your name. And when he, didn't come home, and you waited on him.
I don't know what else. I done sent you all these signs. You're still there. You're still there. Listen. Take the signs.
This is definitely true.
We all get the signs. Nobody just don't change out of nowhere.
No.
They don't. They don't.
Not at all.
We just ignore them. I know I did with my ex. I was like, that's a little different. Okay. Nah, that was God saying, but I ignored it.
And we do. We ignore a lot. So going into your second marriage, and when you guys started dating, do you feel that, you mentioned the shoe, you were waiting for the shoe to drop. What was it that you opened your vulnerability to your now husband, where you're like, okay, I'm going to be open and vulnerable? Because when most people get out of bad relationships, situationships, whatever, they get into something else, it's that self-sabotaging mindset of, you cute and all, but I'm just, I'm going to just stay with you to see. Why was that different for you?
It was different for me because I had to say to myself, look, I can either keep this wall up on the offset chance that he's going to make a mistake, or that he's going to cheat, or he's going to do something that's going to cause the demise of the relationship. But every day I keep myself, my heart, my soul closed, even a little bit, affects the type of relationship we are going to have. So why do that to myself? If I'm making this commitment, if I want to be, with him, then what I'm going to do, and this is literally what I said, I'm always talking to God. I'm like, what I'm going to do is just open up my heart. I'm not going to look for signals. I'm just going to open my heart. I am going to be vulnerable, which was very difficult, again, for a person with a type A personality who already had issues with getting close to people, rather they're men or women. It's just, you go through deaths in your life about people who are so close to you, you just shut that part down, because in back of your mind, you're thinking this person is going to leave, rather they die or just leave you. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to open up. Once I met his family and I saw how they interacted, I said, oh, okay. It was kind of like mine, just a little bit more healthier. And then I saw the way his father treated his mother. And I think out of everything, that was the deciding factor. When I saw the way his father treated his mother, his father, God rest his soul, would look at his mother like she was the best thing on earth. Mm-hmm. And at this point, they had been together since they were like teenagers. And he was still looking at, I remember when I first met them and how he looked at her. And I was saying to myself, God, dog, after all of these years, he's like, and he took good care of them. And, they went through their ups and downs, of course, because they've been together since they were teenagers, but they never had like infidelities and all that. When I saw that, I said, all right, okay. I'm going to try it. If he disappoint me, I'm going to smack the shit out of him, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. And I had to psych myself out, because every time I felt the walls coming down, I would get like stiff. Like I can't explain. It's like, and then I'm looking and I'm like, okay, all right. Oh, okay. All right. And then another reason why I did it with June, this is actually kind of funny. Since I knew he had an ex-wife, my first husband had an ex-wife, and that's who he was cheating with. Mm-hmm. So I looked at the situation and I'm like, I don't know. These men be going back to their exes. I don't know. I kid you not. When I met his ex-wife, and it was all by chance because of, my stepsons wanting me. They were little. They're like, oh, I want you to meet my mom. And I'm like, uh-oh. And so she came out the house. But June, once I saw the way she looked, I said, if that motherfucker with this girl, he can have her. He can have her. I kid you not. All that, I don't know, the thought of that, I was like, he can have her. And after that, I was fine. Because I think deep down, that was my deepest fear, that would happen to me again, that he would go back to his ex, because they got the 2 boys and all of that. And, after that, I was like, okay, oh my gosh. That's you ask. I'm just telling you the truth. I know I'm not a beauty queen, but I was like,
I definitely appreciate your honesty and openness. I do, as always. Speaking of that, definitely, I think that's important, how your mate looks at you. Mm-hmm. It speaks volumes, where They don't have to say a word. You know they miss you. You know they love you. You know, like you said, you can tell when your husband don't like something you said and he looks at you and you like, okay, let me step back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is definitely important, and that's beautiful when someone sees you and they're like, oh my God, I miss that person. And even though you may have seen them 2 hours ago, it's like, babe, I miss you.
Yeah. Yeah. That is that is the best, because I know, like, a perfect example of that is one day this week, my husband went to the city and he was working in the city, and we spent a lot of time together. And so when he was gone, I'm doing my own things, and then I'm like, and then I text him and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going through Christian withdrawals. What are you doing? It's just, and it's like, any other person will be like, oh, fine. I mean, I get all of this time by myself. I was over here like, where's, because it physically felt like a part of me was not next to me. And I've never experienced that before him, but it's always like that. So when he has to go somewhere, or if I have to go somewhere, I'm always trying to get out of driving so that because I know he likes to drive and that he'll do it. And then I won't have to, have that feeling. And I don't know if that's healthy or not. Some people say, oh, it's like it's codependency and you really, I'm like, look, it works for us. And that's what it's about. It's about what works for the two of you. And if it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't, have a conversation, see why it's not working, and see how you guys can, move on positively. Certain times in a relationship, small things become big things because you don't talk about it. Talk about it. You don't like something, talk about it. Anything I don't like, my husband the first to know. He's the first to know. Like, I like that. It's like that, and it's how you say things. You just always have to be cognizant of them and their feelings, and they should always be cognizant of you and your feelings. That's what makes it such a special bond that nobody should be able to break. Nobody. But people don't work on a bond. They spend more time working on outside and not the inside or their relationship. So, and my husband is very close with his mother, and his mother said to me, you know what? Or said to us, I'm your mother. I'm always going to be your mother. That's your wife. That's your wife. She comes first. And, he's just like, okay. And then me, I'm like, mom come first, so we're always like, who comes first? But it's just wonderful. Like he's just wonderful. He's just wonderful. I just love him to death. I really do.
So do you feel that family dynamics is important when it comes to dating, marriage, relationship?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think it's very important for you to see where they come from. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to repeat certain cycles that their family did, or, like if they grew up with an alcoholic father or something, doesn't mean they're going to be an alcoholic. But you really do, for me, I pay attention to the family. And then I look and see how the guy reacts in certain situations. How does he treat his friends? Is he reliable? Is he trustworthy? All that depends on, I'm sorry, how you were raised. And if you weren't raised like that, it doesn't mean that you're not that, but it's going to be on my radar that, okay. All right. Yeah. Your family likes to, do this stuff. It's on my radar. Doesn't mean that person is like that, because they could grow up seeing that negativity and say, I don't want that, like I did, but it's on my radar. So I think it definitely plays a part when I'm picking a person, even a friend. Doesn't necessarily even have to be a man, even a friend.
I think, when it comes to friendship, it's also a relationship of a different kind. But it matters because you want someone that is your cheerleader as well as you're cheering for them.
Yes.
You want someone that has your back as well as you have their back, not a one-sided situation.
Gotta be togetherness. It has to be togetherness. It can't be all about me. It can't be all about them. If you need that time, certain people need that time apart. If you need that time, you need that time. If you're the type that likes to take, trips with your girls once a year or your guy friends once a year, if you did that before and you want to still do that, then you do that. And that person has to be respectful for that. But you're right. It's a two-way street. And I think some people think that they're giving more than they're receiving. Mm-hmm. And when you start to believe that or think that, that's the beginning of the end. And that's when you need to start communicating. You need to start treating this person how they want to be treated. Sometimes we do things and we do it because, we want to do it, but it may not mean nothing to them. I have a girlfriend who hates flowers. She just does not like flowers. Her husband sends her flowers to her job every week, and he thinks he's doing the best thing. All different type of rose, beautiful arrangements. This man is spending hundreds of dollars every week, and she like, I don't even like flowers. Well, does he know that? Well, I don't want to tell him it's going to hurt his feelings. So you want him to keep sending you stuff. He could send me a donut. I'd be happy about that. I'm sure he'd rather send you a donut than send you $100 worth of these beautiful flowers you don't like. And then after a while, it becomes like she will think, you don't even know me. Well, how's he supposed to? If in 5 years he's been sending you flowers, you never once told him that you didn't like him. When it's just an easy conversation, honey, first time you send them, they're very pretty, but I'm not a flowers person. Give me that crumb donut. That's what I like.
That's true. that is true. And I've heard that where people have been in relationships for years, and it's something that their partner or spouse has done for years to show appreciation of whatever. And the person was like, I don't like it. I would rather you come home and help me do something around the house. I'm not really into gifts.
And they're like, oh, okay. But no, we don't say it because we think that's going to hurt their feelings. It doesn't hurt their feelings. They want to know. They want to know how to make you happy because they know happy wife, happy life. They want that. And then that's when the arguments will come because he's like, I've been sending you these flowers for 5 years. Why you didn't tell me? Just tell me. We don't say what we mean or what we want. We don't. And I just think, as women, depending on how you were raised, that's why we're like that. Women are supposed to be seen and not heard. Don't tell people how you really feel. And so we get in relationships and then we don't say anything. We don't use our voice. And then we get mad when people can't read our minds.
That was deep and so true. And speaking of love languages, is that something big between you and your husband, love languages?
Oh, yes. And for us, it's little things like, my husband loves to cook. And so he will make these meals and they don't have to be elaborate, but they good. And I'm like, woohoo, my coffee in the morning that he makes. I can't make coffee and he does, like little things like that just mean, the world to me. For him, it's carving out that time, late at night when we're just sitting down watching the ID channel and something of our bodies have to be touching on the couch because we don't do no TV in the bedroom. Bedrooms for other things, not TV watching. So it's like certain things like that, and we're both just happy. It's like, here we are watching somebody getting, hatchet, just hacked to death. And we're just like, like, I don't need no gifts. I do like roses, and he does do that quite often. He will search high and low to find different color roses that he's never got me in all these years, and he always finds them, doesn't know how. But that's just, when we're sitting down and I'm rubbing those curls of his, and it's simple stuff. Like, we're out the phase, or I think I'm out of the, oh, buy me something, or, oh, I need this, oh, I need that. I don't need nothing. I need for you to keep cooking and, doing my coffee in the morning. That's what I need. That's it.
It's the little things. It's the little things.
It's the little things. And I'm like, I can't wait till he come up with dinner for the night. Every day it's like, ooh, what you making? And you just... God, y'all got to pray for my husband, y'all, because he got to deal with me. I just pray for him.
It is. The little things are more appreciated because you really have to look at. Most people don't think about the small, tedious things. People always look at the big, elaborate things.
Yeah.
Anybody can do big, elaborate things, but when you really heard what someone said about they like something or they want to go somewhere, and you hear that, and it's like, oh, I like horseback riding. Oh, you took me on a horseback riding day. Or I love the beach and we went jet skiing or did something. So I think that's very mindful and paying attention to what your partner wants. And I think also having that conversation, as you said, of what you like and what you want to do. If you're not a homebody and you've been chilling at home because it's COVID, picnics. It's so many things you can do. Taking a walk together. There's so many things you can do.
It is. Be creative. COVID made us get a little bit creative for those who like to go out. And you gotta communicate, and you gotta listen. You have to listen. If a person is telling you what they like and what they don't like, don't think you know what's best for them. And sometimes we do, especially the guys. If my girlfriends who don't like really materialistic things, but for the guys, they don't know how to express their love other than buying them something, because they just don't know. And so they'll keep buying stuff. And then they're like, it's nice, but you have to listen. You have to. And you just have to do what makes the other person happy, and vice versa. Right. And then you won't have any problems. As long as you pick the right person for you in the beginning, you can work out all the little nuances that comes, up in marriages. You can. If you did not pick the right person for your core, you will always have this friction. You will always have this friction. And then you have to decide, are you going to continue, or are you just going to let it go so that God can bring you the person who you were supposed to be with? You both got to be whole. You're not looking for another half. I can't stand when people say that. I'm looking for my other half. Then no. You have to be whole first, and then you find another whole person. That's why things ain't working. You half and he half. No, that don't make no whole. That make y'all two broken pieces. Be whole first.
Yes. This is Very true. Or, you hear, oh, I'm looking for that person that's going to make me happy, or, definitely. And like you said, communication is a big thing. I've talked to friends who said that what they wanted in their current relationship, and they're like, oh, I think I'm going to let them go. And it's like, breaking up is easy. Communicating is hard. Mm-hmm. And we rather run than talk.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're terrified. Which makes you think, if you rather run than to work out, especially little stuff, so many people have deal breakers that are so small. I mean, you would be astounded by what some of my clients will tell me. I'm about to get a divorce. Why? Well, because I don't like the way he does the laundry, and it's really just pissing me off. Tell him not to do it. Tell him not to fold your clothes. Why do you just don't talk about it? I don't have time for that. We're just gonna break up. Real stupid stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, anything else wrong with him? No. Okay. All right. Okay. You keep on jumping then, boo. Maybe you should just tell him what you think. Nah.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like, okay, well, he should stand. She should feel my body language that I don't like it. No, because sometimes you got to open your mouth and say what you like and don't like. Or you can sit down together and say, hey, let's fold clothes together, because, a certain way that you do it, I think you can improve on.
Exactly. Or, hey, be like me and my husband. My husband washes everything. He will fold my clothes. If I wash clothes, I do not fold his clothes, because he is very particular. And it was funny in the beginning because I used to fold them, and then he'd be like, oh, thanks, babe. And then he would go, and I'd go somewhere and come back and he's refolding it. And I'd be like, what are you doing? Well, I like my shirts like this. And I'm like, okay, well, you rather just fold your own clothes? It's probably better that way. Okay, no problem. Less for me to do. I don't care. Less for me to do. I don't like folding anyway. But he was funny with it because he's like, oh, thank you. And I went out the room. I came back for something. He's like, dude, just nice and calmly refold this stuff. What are you doing? I said, that's the military up in you. You used to stuff just perfect.
Yes. So what advice would you give individuals during this cuffing season?
Lord, I would say, if you're saying things to yourself like, it's time for me to get a man because whatever, it's not time for you to get a man. It's not time for you to get a man. It's time for you to reflect on yourself and figure out why you feel like you're not whole by yourself and that you need that man. If you feel like, this is your last chance at real love, and you've been talking to somebody and you're like, this person not real perfect for me, but it's my life. Don't do it. Don't do it. The true person that's for you is out there, but you will never find them if you keep lowering your standards and picking guys or girls that are not for you. It's just as simple as that. You can't have what you want if you're settling for the frogs. It's not going to work. So stop settling. Men and women, your perfect queen and king is out there. But you got to look for them and stop wasting your time on people that aren't for you. Because if you don't, all you're doing is going to make things harder for yourself. And for what? Be honest with yourself. Know what you want. Listen, ladies, listen more than we speak when it comes to these guys. Listen. And hey, you know, if you want to, you know, contact the ex here and there, hey, why not? Go ahead. Like, what was his issue? I'm telling you, I have done that when it was between, you know, my ex-husband and my husband. I have done that. I'm like, oh, yeah, you seem real cool. Yeah, you cool with your ex? Yeah. Oh, let me meet your ex. You get real cool with them exes and they start telling you stuff. You're like, all right. I'm going to just slide on out and go over here and let this one go. Some of my best avoided mistakes, I kid you not, is because I got friendly with their ex. It sounds crazy, but I was like, all right, I see. So, yeah, it may be that season, but maybe it's not just season to find your perfect person. Work on yourself. Write down what it is that you're looking for. I'm not just talking about the looks wise. I'm talking about, do they have children or do they not have children? You know, what type of field do you want them to be in? Are they caring? Do they show their emotions? Do they not share their emotions? Some women don't like that. Be very particular about what you want. Write it down and keep looking at it every single day. And I guarantee you, sooner or later, that person is going to walk into your life and you're going to be like, wow. I had a client who did that for 2 years. And what she wanted, I was like, oh, all right. And she was an artist and she drew certain features of this guy. You really don't find, black guys with like, hazel green eyes. Like she was just all, and she drew it for 2 years and she's looking at it. Don't you know she met this guy on a trip to the Ivory Coast. Oh, wow. And he was from the US and they just happened to be at whatever place they were. And she's like, oh my God, that's him. Wow. Took her 2 years, but she got him. Yeah.
Well, maybe next year when I'm ready, I'm gonna draw mine and write it down.
Write it down now. You can draw it later, but write it down now. Just write it. You could just write it and just move it to the side, and then when you're ready, and pick it back up. June will get that perfect guy for LaJune. And I've already told her, y'all, what she gonna have to do before she go on the first date. So you're gonna get that perfect guy for you.
You can definitely tell that she is a sister figure because she's literally like, I gotta interrogate him. There's no first date until I talk to him, see what his intentions are with you. Mm-hmm. So this is, it should be interesting. I may just have to keep it a secret.
You better not keep it a secret. I gotta know. Because I can be like, all right, he all right, LaJune. All right, okay, Or I'll be like, no. She gonna go and date him anyway, because I know my sister. She gonna be like, I'm telling me what to do.
No, because you have been, and one thing that I admire about your relationship with your husband is you guys date each other. And I think that is beautiful because a lot of people get out of the dating, the romance, the intimacy, the affection part of a relationship because it's like, okay, well, hey, I already got you, so why I gotta do all that? So I love that you guys do that because it shows that spark, you keeping that spark, that fire going. You're not letting it dim. You keep lighting it. And I think that's important.
Oh, that's that. You have to do that. You have to keep courting your spouse. You have to have that date night. Ours is once a week. Even if it's once a month, because you guys have hectic schedules, you have to do that. You have to, send each other little love notes. You have to keep that going, especially when you have children, because children will keep you both running. It's all about the kids, all about the kids, all about the kids. And I think that's why so many times when the kids are out the house in college, so many divorces happen, because you're looking at your spouse like, well, what do you mean you don't like this? We always did this. No, we didn't. And then the problems start because you drifted apart for 18 years, didn't really realize it because you were focusing on the kids. So if you have kids, have that date night where it's just the two of you, even if it's after the kids go to sleep. That's what we used to do. We would wait till the kids, went to sleep, and we had that schedule. They were in bed by 8:00. So by 8:30, it's like you light a little candle. You may be exhausted, but that's your time. And when you're dealing with, extended families with the kids, it's even harder. When you both have, kids and you're bringing them in there, and then you have to go through that and see which kid don't like this kid, or it's crazy, and it'll take up your time. So definitely have that date night. Have something every night. Tell each other, this is what happened. This is why I thought about you, something before you go to sleep. We talk every freaking night. We together all the time with you, but even at night, we're like talking. You have to do that. Your relationship with your mate has to be the strongest relationship that you have. It don't have to be as codependent as mine, but it has to be strong. And if it's strong, it will withstand anything. Mm-hmm. Even when you got little haters coming in, trying to sprinkle those little hate dust, because we've had that too throughout the years. It doesn't penetrate it. It's too strong. That's why can nobody destroy this. Nobody. I don't care if a woman was ass butt naked walking down past my husband. My husband will look, and I'll be like, how's she? Like, tits too small, and then we'll go back to our conversation. That's how you gotta be.
Right.
That's how you gotta be. I'm not jealous. He is a man. Shoot, some of these girls out here, I'll be like, God, boy, she's beautiful. Ain't she cute, honey? And my friends are like, how could you say that? She cute. What? I'll be looking too, and I'm a girl. I ain't no lesbian, but she look good. We get all uptight. Sometimes we do. We get all uptight. Be walking in the mall. Well, my husband was looking at her ass. How was her ass? Was it big? What? It's disrespectful. Oh, is it? Well, shoot. Me and my husband been disrespecting each other forever then, because I'll be the one pointing it out. See her butt? Look at her butt. That's how we are. That is just how we are. It's no shame. I am not jealous of any other woman that he looks at. And he knows that he doesn't have to be jealous of any man I look like. Because now nobody going to take care of me the way he does.
This is true. This is definitely true. So, yes. So, Miss Coach Tamica, where can people find you, and what's up next for you?
What's up next for me? What's up next for us is we actually have my husband and I, because he's also a coach, and we've put together an association for people who can't really afford, a coach per se. And so we're getting that together. It's going to be something that's only $29 a month. And every month or every week, they'll actually get, lessons that they can actually, start to get their health in a better place. Mm-hmm. So that is what we're actually doing. So if anybody who wants to reach me, my website is CoachTamica.com, and that's where you can find me. And I am so happy and grateful that you invited me. And I hope I didn't embarrass you too much. Hope I embarrass you too much, because I really tried with you to be good. I did.
She did a good job. Literally before we came on, I drink a gallon of water sometimes. And I was drinking the water, and Tamica was like, "Oh my God." And yeah, she made me laugh. She made me spit it out. So if you notice why I'm not drinking the water, it's because of her, because I know her facial expression or she's going to say something. So I didn't drink it. So I'm going to wait after this, and I'm going to drink as much as I want and not worry about her looking at me crazy.
It just took me by surprise, you know? You see people with little water bottles. You came up with it. I was like, it took me on guard. And I said, oh, I forgot she drinks more by the gallon.
Yes. So she, I definitely appreciate you coming on, because we've talked about doing this for a while. And this is like perfect timing, because it is that season where people are ready to, or feel like they're ready to jump into relationships because it's cold outside and they want somebody to cup on and spoon with. So you brought some great points up, and definitely please reach out to her. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, and where else? Your website.
Oh, my website. I'm even on Twitter.
She's on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. I be tweeting y'all.
I'm not on Twitter. So
I be tweeting. I'm always tweeting about something.
So you can reach her on there. If you have any relationship questions, nutritional diabetes questions, hit her up. Again, as we said, it is relationship. Typically people want relationships around this time of year. Nothing wrong with that. But first, have that wholeness within yourself before you decide to start seeking a relationship with someone else. Make sure you've eliminated your past traumas, your hurt, your pain, abandonment, or whatever issues you've had in the past before you decide to take that to someone else. Because trust me, we don't want to hurt people just because we were hurt, because hurt people hurt people.
That's right.
So find that self-love, find that self-joy, happiness, and peace within yourself, because no one else can bring that to you but yourself. So until next time, this is LaJune. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, LaJuneSingleton.com. Instagram, I am LaJune Singleton, and my website, LaJuneSingleton.com. So until next time, thank you, Coach Tamica. Love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.